Hello everyone, this is Susanna from Hold It Right There Sewing Patterns. Welcome back to my video tutorial series for my sewing pattern, the Ember Crossbody. To make the Ember Crossbody, please purchase the sewing pattern from the website linked below. In this video, we will walk through all the steps of creating the bag lining. So grab your Ember Crossbody instructions and follow along with me now. We'll start off by making the lining slip pocket. Find your two lining slip pocket eye pieces and pin or clip them right sides together. The interface side will be the side seen when you open your bag or the side facing outward away from the bag. Follow the seam allowances given in your pattern instructions and sew around your lining slip pocket. Be sure to leave an opening at the bottom of the lining slip pocket for turning it right side out. Trim the corner seam allowances. Turn the lining slip pocket right side out through the opening at the bottom of the pocket. Gently push out the corners using a turning tool, a chopstick, or a blunt pair of scissors. Fold in and press the bottom opening of your lining slip pocket. Off camera, I went ahead and gave my lining slip pocket a good press. I top stitched across the top edge and I marked the center of my lining slip pocket with my fabric marking pen. Locate now your lining front and back H pieces. I went ahead and marked the center top on both of the H pieces. Designate one H piece as the lining back and set it aside for a step down the road. Place the remaining H piece right side up. This piece will be your lining front. Using your center markings, place the lining slip pocket where indicated in your instructions onto the lining front. Pin the slip pocket in place and then sew along the sides and bottom edges. I've sewn the lining slip pocket and my lining front panel is now complete. Set this aside for now. We will now move on to creating the lining zipper pocket for the lining back panel. I just want to note that this is how we will berth our bag at the end of construction through the lining zipper pocket, so do not omit this step. We'll get started then with lining zipper pocket facing J1. Turn wrong side up and mark the lines according to your pattern instructions, which I have already done. Locate the lining back H and place right side up. Be sure to make the markings indicated in your pattern instructions, and then right sides together, center the lining zipper pocket facing J1 onto the lining back H at the measurement in your instructions. Then pin the lining zipper pocket facing to the lining back panel. We will now sew along the two long horizontal lines of the zipper window. We will not sew the two short vertical lines, and the reason is this will prevent puckering of our zipper window later. I am going to sew directly over top of the marking following one of the long horizontal lines that I made, and it is important to backstitch at the beginning and the end of each of these two rows of stitching. This is especially important since we aren't making a complete rectangle. We're only sewing along those two long lines. When I make a zipper window, I like to use a slightly smaller stitch length. I've sped up this film clip for the sake of the length of this video tutorial, but I'm actually sewing this step fairly slowly. I'm now going to cut across the center of the zipper window through all the layers of fabric and interfacing, and I'm going to stop about 1/2 inch or 12 millimeters from both the right and the left ends. I'll cut out Y-shaped corners, and one thing is to be very careful not to cut through your stitching. So you want to get as close to the corners as possible to get a really nice fold and a really nice edge of your zipper window, but don't cut through the stitching. We're now going to push the lining zipper pocket facing from the right side of the lining back through the opening. And since the material I'm using is cotton, I'm spraying a little bit of water and using my iron. I like to press on the four sides of the lining zipper pocket facing, and then I find it just a little bit easier to get a really nice crease, a really nice zipper window, using my iron, pressing toward the opening and then pushing the zipper pocket facing through. If you're using a material that won't tolerate heat, something that you cannot iron, double-sided tape is a really helpful supply for this step. It can take a little bit of time to get the zipper pocket facing to line nicely against the back of the lining panel, but it's worth it in the end. So take your time to press carefully, or to finger press if it's a non-heat tolerant material, and use your double-sided tape. By not sewing the short vertical sides of the rectangle that I drew, the zipper window just lies nice and flat. Set aside your lining back for now. Locate the prepared zipper for the lining zipper pocket and the two J2 lining zipper pocket pieces. With one J2 piece right side up, pin or clip the zipper right side up along the top edge. Be sure the zipper pull is on the left. Sew using the seam allowance given in your instructions. Now, pin or clip the opposite side of the zipper along the top edge of the remaining J2 piece. This time, the zipper pull needs to be on the right. Sew using the seam allowance in the instructions. I've pressed the right side of the J2 pieces away from the zipper, and we now need to place the lining zipper pocket pieces wrong side up so that you see the right side of the zipper and the zipper pull is on the left. Grab the lining back and right side up, center the zipper window over top of the zipper. Use double-sided tape to keep the zipper in place, and then we will sew around the zipper window, keeping the J2 pocket pieces extended above and below the zipper window just as we have it here, and make sure that the zipper pull is on the left. If you wish, you can switch to a zipper presser foot if you'd like. I'm using my regular presser foot. I begin with a few back stitches to lock the stitches in place. I'm using a slightly longer stitch length, and I'm sewing starting on one of the longer sides of the rectangle, sewing to a short side, keeping the needle down, pivoting, sewing up the small side of the rectangle till I reach the other corner, keep my needle down, pivot, sew the long side, the opposite long side of the rectangle. And I am doing this quite slowly, taking my time. When I get to the zipper pull, I'm going to maneuver it out of the way. With a zipper presser foot, you may not need to do that, but with a regular presser foot, you probably will, depending on your machine. But to do this, just be sure that you keep your needle in a down position. So I'm lifting the presser foot, my needle is down, moving the zipper pull, put the presser foot back down, and continue sewing. And just as I did the opposite corner, I'm going to pivot and complete the sewing around the zipper window just as I did in the beginning. We're now going to sew the left and right sides of the lining zipper pocket. So to do this, move the H lining back out of the way and Following the seam allowance in your instructions, sew along the right side and the left side. You're sewing through the lining zipper pocket facing, both lining zipper pocket layers, as well as the zipper teeth. And you're sewing down the side of the pocket. Be sure to backstitch, and you'll do this on the opposite side. Two things to note: the bottom of the lining zipper pocket pieces will be uneven. That's okay. We'll fix that in a moment. The other thing is, do not sew the bottom edge of this pocket closed. The lining zipper pocket is the opening through which we will birth the bag later at the end of construction. The sides of my lining zipper pocket are sewn, and now I'm going to trim the bottom edge of the lining zipper pocket so that these two pieces of the pocket, the top and bottom layers, are even. This is a good time to unzip the lining zipper pocket. The zipper needs to stay open so that we can turn our bag right side out later. Set this aside for now. I have measured and marked the remaining zipper according to the pattern instructions. At the closed end of the zipper, I sewed over top of the zipper teeth a few times to prevent the zipper pull from falling off. I've also made the markings at the opening of the zipper. Wrong sides together, fold one marking at the zipper opening. Turn the fold at a 90-degree angle so that it is flush against the zipper tape. Tack the folded zipper tape in place with a few stitches, and then repeat this on the opposite side of the zipper opening. I'm using a hand sewing needle to do this, but you can also sew at your sewing machine. You can also use a bit of fabric glue to tack the zipper tape in place. I'm going to do the exact same thing on the opposite side of the zipper. So wrong sides together, I'm folding along the marking. I'm turning the fold again at a 90-degree angle flush against the zipper tape. Then I'm basting a few stitches through the folded zipper tape to keep it in place. Here's what the zipper looks like now with the ends folded back. I'm now going to trim off the tails, this little excess bit of the zipper tape, so that it is even with the rest of the zipper, and I'm doing this on both sides of the zipper at the zipper opening. Our zipper is now prepared, and it is time to get zipper stop L ready for it. Place zipper stop L wrong side up. Fold over and press the long raw edges over top of the interfacing. Next, we will fold over and press the short raw edges over top of the interfacing. Wrong sides together, fold and press the zipper stop in half so that the short sides meet. Tuck the closed end of the prepared zipper between the folded over zipper stop. Align the end of the zipper with the crease. I am sandwiching the zipper in between the layers of the zipper stop. Pin or clip these layers together. We're now going to sew all the way around the sides of the zipper stop. As I'm sewing around the zipper stop, I like to use my stiletto tool to nudge the raw edges, those folded in raw edges of the zipper stop inward. You can also use the pointed edge of a seam ripper to do this. It's just helpful to catch those folded in raw edges on the interior of the zipper stop as you're sewing. Little double-sided tape is great for this, or just a dot or two of fabric glue. We're now going to work on zipper casing K. I've drawn the horizontal line across the center, and I've cut the zipper casing in half. You will just start with one of the zipper casing segments. Turn it wrong side up. Wrong sides together, press long side to long side. Unfold and place wrong side up. I went ahead and fused 2 of my strips of interfacing according to the pattern instructions. And now I am ready to fold in and press the short sides of this zipper casing segment. And I'm using the edges of the interfacing as a pressing guide. And I'm going to repeat on the opposite side, folding over and pressing the opposite short end of this zipper casing segment. Wrong sides together, fold over and press the long sides of this zipper casing segment over top of the interfacing. And we're going to do this on both sides so that in the end, all 4 sides of this zipper casing segment are folded inward. And then we'll repeat these exact steps with the remaining zipper casing segment. You will now need your prepared zipper, both zipper casings, and double-sided tape. Place one of your zipper casing segments wrong side up. Place the open end of the zipper approximately a ½ inch or 12 millimeters from the bottom folded edge of the zipper casing. The zipper teeth will be approximately 1/4 inch or 6 millimeters below the zipper casing. Top stitch as noted in your pattern instructions along the sides and across the bottom edge. A stiletto tool is also helpful for this step, just to nudge inward those folded over edges of the zipper casing. So I'm starting along the short side of the zipper casing, back stitching, and when I get to the corner, I will pivot and make sure the folded in edge is tucked inward neatly before I pivot. And when I do pivot, I always keep my needle in a down position, lift the presser foot and pivot, and this keeps my stitching line continuous. Be careful sewing over the zipper teeth at the open end of the zipper. You can use your hand wheel, that may be helpful. And you saw me move the zipper pull out of the way as I was sewing. Off camera, I will repeat with the second zipper casing and the remaining edge of the zipper. So the zipper will, at the end, be fully enclosed in the zipper casing. I've finished the zipper casing and I've marked the center on the long edges of the zipper casing. You can put this aside for now. You will now need your prepared lining front and back panels. We will notch them just as we did with the exterior panels so that we can create the boxed corners in the lining panels. So I'm going to direct you back to step 29 to see how you do this. I've traced the square pattern piece for the boxed corners and I am cutting them out. I've notched out the 4 boxed corners on my lining panels. If you haven't done so already, be sure to unzip the lining zipper pocket and keep it unzipped. You'll need your lining panel right side up. With the zipper pull facing left, match the center marking on the zipper casing with the top center marking on the lining back. Pin or clip in place. Sew using the seam allowance given in your instructions. Now take the lining front and place it right side up. With the zipper pull facing right this time, match the center marking on the zipper casing with the top center marking on the lining front. Pin or clip in place. You're ready now to sew the zipper casing to the lining front. The zipper casing is now sewn to both lining panels. Right sides together, pin or clip the lining fronts and back along the sides and along the bottom edge. You'll need to fold in or tuck in the zipper casing and keep the tail of the zipper out of the way as you're pinning and clipping and in a moment as you're sewing. I usually will pin or clip the top edge of the bag, get that even first, and then the bottom side of the bag before I pin or clip the center. And this is just so that I'm getting the edges as even as possible. My lining front and back panels are now clipped together and I'm ready to sew. Please note your instructions for the seam allowance on the side seams. We will be tapering inward on the left and right sides. I've sewn the sides and the bottom seam. I also went ahead and pressed the seams open. I'm going to box the corners of the lining now, just as I did for the exterior of the bag. If you want to, refer to step 35 for how we box the exterior. We're doing it exactly the same way now, boxing the corners of the lining. Sew the boxed corners in your lining, following the seam allowance in your instructions. Here is our lovely lining with the corners at the bottom boxed. And this concludes this video. Join me in the next video as we assemble our bag and create the strap. Thanks for watching. Happy sewing.